What's up, YouTube? We back with another review. Today we're going to be reviewing Gachiakuta, episode 15. Let's get it.
So the episode starts off rewinding the same thing that happened at the end of the last episode. Rudo's talking to the head of the Raiders, and while they're talking, he tells Rudo, he says, "You should always watch the weather because a storm may be coming." Suddenly, Rudo attacks him, and right as he's attacking him, the rest of the cleaners show up to his defense. But it doesn't work. The Raiders' boss has a person behind him who's a manhole user. And after using this vital instrument, she sucks in Rudo and the cleaners. Soon after, they're sent to some creepy, dark underground tunnel. And as they're face to face, Rudo asks the leader of the Raiders, he says, "Hey, where's Ammo?" He ignores him. Then suddenly Engine pops up. He says, "Yo, what's the plan? What y'all got going on?" He then ignores Engine. And after pulling out a clock, he begins his first plan of action against the cleaners. And what happens next is crazy. The pipes from this underground tunnel starts to release trash, and it blows the cleaners away. And in the midst of the trash slide, the cleaners get separated. We're then taken back to Rudo and the head of the cleaners talking. Rudo yells, "Yo, what did you do with my friends?" He replies and says that's irrelevant. They shouldn't have tagged along. He then suddenly raises up his hand and creates 5 manhole portals. And each of the Raiders that's with him occupy the portals, and they go somewhere. Soon after, we go back to Rudo and the boss of the Raiders. He's staring down at Rudo. Rudo's kind of spooked. He then asks Rudo, "Who is Ammo? Is this Ammo the reason for your rage?" And as he's asking Rudo these questions, the camera then pans to Zonka. He's struggling after being thrown by the massive trash slide. And suddenly he looks up and a portal opens and somebody's coming out of it. The camera goes back to Rudo and the boss of the Raiders. He tells Rudo, he says, "That rage you feel, I share that same rage." Then he suddenly asks Rudo, he says, "Join me, let's take down a spear." Rudo is shocked. He's like, "What?" And out of nowhere, he gets a vision of the spear getting destroyed and burnt down. The Raiders' boss, Zoid Typhoon, tells him, "The vision you get, and I see the same thing, but the destruction you see will only happen to your enemies." Rudo says, "Man, quit trying to change the subject. What did you do to my friend and Ammo?" He then tries to play mind games with Rudo. He says, "I answered your question, now answer mine." Rudo starts to think to himself. He says, "Man, this guy is weird." He says, "It's like he's using his words to hold me captive." The Raiders' boss then asks Rudo, he says, "You care about Ammo and the cleaners that much, huh?" He asks Rudo, he says, "Why did you join the cleaners?" Rudo says, "Because I want to get back to the spear." He responds to Rudo and says, "You really think you can get back that way? The cleaners don't care about you getting to the spear. That's not a part of their job." He tells Rudo, "You can't be satisfied with this fake friendship." And after diabolically trying to manipulate Rudo, we then move to the next scene. It's the cleaner Rio. After the trash slide, she's been separated. She's in a random room by herself. And as she's wandering around looking for the rest of the cleaners, one of the Raiders appears. She starts to troll Rio. After a few insults, Rio says, "Okay, I figured it out. You guys' plans is to separate us all and fight us in a 1v1 battle each." The woman agrees. And as they ready up their fade, simultaneously, Jabba and Tonka's finna squabble. They finna have their rematch. And that's just what happens, because in the next scene, it shows Tonka and Jabba going full out at each other. It's a blow-for-blow match. It's close. It's getting crazy. Jabba runs across some type of toxin, and him being the crazy maniac he is, he of course uses this toxic enhanced in his vital instrument. And so as the battle continues between him and Zonka, Jabba goes demon mode and launches the toxin at Zonka. And as Zonka gazes up on it as it approaches him, the anime moves to the next scene. The cleaner with the dragon suit from Team Kid arrives. She's lost, and like a kid, she says, "I'm all alone." She then hilariously runs into a roach, and she gets excited. After the quick cutscene, we go back to Rio against the woman Raider. And coincidentally, she sees a roach, but Rio starts screaming. The woman Raider says, "Man, you a cleaner and you scared of a roach?" After being trolled, Rio responds. She says, "Yeah, I was spooked by a little roach, but I'm not the worst." She says, "I know one cleaner that was scared when somebody flung some poop at him." And while she's obviously describing Zonka, we go back to the battle between him and Jabba. Things look bad for Zonka because he's been struck by Jabba's poisonous attack. Jabba trolls Zonka a little bit. He says, "Hey, why you didn't duck that?" Zonka replies, he says,
"Oh, this attack?
this is nothing like getting poop flung on you. Soon after that little back and forth, Zonka would counter his attack by using his move, overturning Earth. And with this epic attack, he uses the poison toxins against Jabba. And after being buried by the attack, Jabba looks to be defeated. Moving along, Engine pops up, and now it's his time to face his matchup. But the guy he's facing doesn't show himself. He hides in the background and studies Engine. Moving on a little bit, more of the cleaners face their Raider foes. And now it's Rio and the Raider cleaner woman with the comb vital instrument. She tells Rio that her mission is to defeat her. And after trolling each other, they continue their battle. Rio goes first with an attack with her vital instrument that cuts the woman's hair. And after a small back and forth, they each get a feel for each other's vital instrument. And then they go back at it. And right as they clash with each other, the anime abruptly moves to the final scene with Zonka fighting Jabba. Zonka pops up and he's looking for Jabba. He's saying, "Yo, dude, get up. I know you're not defeated." And he would be right, because out of the rubble, Jabba appears. But this time, he's reached his final form. And of course, Jabba the crazed maniac, he gets a rush from this. He says, "Come on, Zonka. I know you haven't reached your final form. Come on, let's go all out." Moving along after this crazy scene, we get to the final part of this anime. It's Rio versus the Raider girl with the electric cone vital instrument. And surprisingly, after attacking her, Rio's hurt, but she can't figure out why. Oh, but she wouldn't have to wait long, because the woman tells her, she says, "My vital instrument's plastic and it's a comb. So when I rub it through my hair, it creates electric static." And then she tells Rio, "My hair is electrically charged. And when you used your vital instrument that was scissors against my electric shocked hair, you essentially played yourself because you got electrocuted." She trolls her and say, "Scissors against my electrically charged hair? Bad matchup for you." And she drops the mic. Oh my God. And so guys, that's a wrap up for this episode.